Stop limiting what you can imagine. You see, your imagination is the gateway for all of your breakthroughs. It's the gateway for things you want to do in life. But sometimes we limit what we can imagine. And the reason why is because the things that happen in this world, different statuses of people, we think that we can't imagine ourselves doing something great. And we have to come to a stop because you're greater than what you think you are. But the problem is that you can't imagine yourself, and you have to be able to properly imagine the things that you do, that you want, your desires, the things that you have in your heart. You have to imagine them. So this brings me to a story in the Bible that's found in Genesis chapter 15, verses 1 through 3. It talks about Abram and his imagination and the things that God told him first. So let's go to it. We're going to read out of the King James version today. So it says here, after these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? Let's hold here. Abram was what we would call in this day and age impotent. He couldn't bear children, even if he tried. So he said, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus. Now we're going to focus on Eleazar in a second. Then it says, and Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. So Abram, when God told him that he was going to say, fear not, he told him not to fear. The first thing he told him was not to fear. The first thing that Abram responded was the fear of not having a child, having heritage from his seed. And that brings us to Eleazar. So in the notes it says, Eleazar was Abram's most trusted servant, acting as household administrator. And according to custom, if Abram were to die without sin, so Abram was to die without sin, his eldest servant would become his heir. Although Abram loved his servant, he wanted a son to carry on the family line. He had not seen God's promise fulfilled. So he thought this was the only possibility. So that's what he thought. It was that he had to have his servant. So then it says God can do more, or actually he had not seen God's promise. Let me read this part too. He had not seen God's promises or his promise fulfilled. So he thought this was the only possibility. God can do more than we can imagine. So let's think about this for a second. Here's Abram. Remember, he's not called Abraham yet. He's called Abram. He's in a situation to where he has no seed. Eleazar, who he loves Eleazar, but he doesn't want him to take over his household when God told him before, remember, get thee out of that country, from that kindred, I'll take you to a land, and he was going to prosper him. He wanted that prosperity to go to his son, which we know later to be Isaac. So he asked God a question. What am I going to do? I can't bear children. So now we're going to pick up at verses 4 through 6. This is what God responded. It says, and behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. So he just gave him a word. He just gave him a word that said, look, I understand your situation. I understand that right now you're impotent. Right now, you can't bear children, but that's going to change. Your heir is going to come from your womb. Then it goes on to say, and he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. So God told him, look, you're going to have a seed. There is going to be a seed that comes from your bowel. He didn't leave it there. He gave him a visual. He showed him something visually. He said, look up at the stars. So there was that visual. He looked up. He said, if you can number it, then you'll be able to number your seed. So guess what Abram did from that time on? Looked up at the stars. In his mind, his imagination grew. See, it got rid of the doubt because he had a visual image that he could look at. So with you, when you're going about throughout your day, when you're going about with your job, when you're going about doing the things that you have to do throughout the day, what happens is that people, other images, imagination, image, we look at other image. And you might live in the ghetto, you might see poverty, you might see lack, you might be at a job where you're looking at it and you work at a low-class place. Let's say you work at a fast food restaurant, you work at a lower class establishment store, or it could even be that you have a good job, but you want to advance. But what you see is other people advancing before you. See, these are all images that you put here. You put it in here and you imagine the wrong thing. That's why he had to give him a visualization of what he wanted him to see, what God wanted Abram to see. Then we know that Abram became Abraham. But that visual is important. So we got a couple of steps we want to do. I want you to close your eyes and envision what you want to accomplish and who you want to become. Don't let the world dictate to you who you're going to be or where you need to stay. See, remember, before God gave Abraham or Abram this vision, the first thing he said was, get out of your country, from your kindred. He told him to do all this stuff. The same thing, you have to get out of your country. Your country may be the seeds of doubt that somebody sows into you, the images that's sowed up here. You got to get out of that old country, that country of doubt, that country of I can't do it, that country of negative images, and get into a land that's flowing with milk and honey. And that land was the image that he showed him. You can number that, then you know what your seed is. You have to get visual promptings. Maybe it's time for you to see something different. Maybe it's time for you to look with different eyes and see yourself on a different level. See, that's the only way that you're going to break the cycle of having a low image of yourself. You don't want a low image of yourself when God looks at the things that you can accomplish as spectacular. So what you want to do is imagine the greatness that's in you. Imagine you doing more. Imagine you cutting that album. Imagine you drawing that masterpiece. Imagine you doing that coding that you've been trying to do and creating that software you want to create. Imagine you creating that system that you've been putting off forever. You're like, I need to do this. I got to do this now. Imagine yourself doing it. Get a visual that you can see, a visual that nobody else can take away from you, and hold on to that. And then apply the God factor. You always know I'm going to go back to God. Apply the God factor. God, this is what I see in me. Can you help me bring this out? The same way that you helped Abram bring out the father of many nations out of him. If you can do that for him, you can do that for me. So today, imagine you being great. Imagine you doing spectacular things. Imagine you rising up from the crowd. Imagine you doing everything God knows that you can do. I hope this motivates you and helps you to imagine more, be more, and do more. Hey, this is George Burnett Jr. Glad I can give this to you. Like, comment, share. Even go check out some of my musics in the release tab. And I appreciate you listening to me. Hey, I just want the best for everybody. I want to motivate you the best way that I can and inspire you to go out and do great things. Once again, this is George Burnett Jr. signing out.